You know, it's the same thing. Do we follow the bishop in? Some of the bishops don't want to be followed in. You know, so you always got to understand and know each event where you're at. And
I'm not saying that.
no, I'm adding to what you said.
Oh, you're not. No, Bishop of Sept does not want honor guard behind him. I know Winneconne does.
See, that's the point I was making.
That's his, you do what he does, and that's exactly what we're saying.
On the theme again, gentlemen, when we go there, we're there to serve the event in the honorable way that we can. Okay, that doesn't mean we dictate what we want to do on an individual or an assembly or an honor guard basis. We're there to serve them. Now, if they told us that the only way that you can have your honor guard in here is you could remove your trousers and stand there in your boxers, we would have something to say about that. They're not asking anything ridiculous, okay?
I'm just going to say, as far as I know, it's the commander's responsibility to talk to the pastor of the church, you know. If the bishop isn't having the mass, you know, then you got to talk to that pastor of the church, and he'll dictate whether you can draw your swords or not, and the stuff like that. Now, one thing that I did find out from the thing about how the procession goes, if we're supposed to be guarding the people, we can't guard something if it's in front of us. And so that's why the honor guard would be ahead of the cross, so that we have the honor guard in the front guarding, and we have, well, at least for Ripon, we have our guy in the back, so everybody's guarded by the guard. Right?
We're not guarding.
So,
Thank you,
the
Bill.
bishop ain't got the master,
Sure,
got
you
to
can
the
guard,
priest.
I'm not going to.
And there's a few priests that don't want us to draw swords, and so they'll tell us. In fact, actually, I was already yelled at because the guy said, I'm the pastor here, you're supposed to talk to me. No, so I've been pretty good.
Jerry?
I was just going to say, it's always good to let the pastor know, especially if the archbishop's not there during the event. Sometimes they'll walk in and
I can guard.
they did not know ahead of time that the honor guard was going to be there for that mass. So, and it's good to keep informed with the pastor in charge of the parish too, that what's coming up.
Talk to him when you get there right away and see what he wants.
I think Winneconne has a confirmation this weekend. And the last time they had it was during the week. Sister Pam invited us to that one because normally the church will not be full on a weekday night for confirmation. But on a weekend mass situation, there's not going to be enough room to stand in there because we do two parishes, Amur and Winneconne, all together. And so we weren't invited this time. That's just the way it is. She decided there wasn't room for us. So.
We have in our church in Fond du Lac, we weren't allowed to wear swords. That was the priest before and after. We can't wear swords. The archbishop came, wanted to know where our swords were, and we told him we can't wear them in this church. He said, "You have them in the car." Some of us did, some of us didn't. So he says, "Yeah, we do and we don't. You know, we all have them, we'll wear them. If not, we don't." He says, "If you want to wear them, go get them." He says, "Well, I don't want to cause friction in here." He says, "I'm the boss. I want them." and he made it known in Mass that he'll come back to Holy Family again. He wants the honor guard there, but he wants them with the swords. I mean, he said in front of the congregation and the priests. I mean, it was, you know, scary at first because so now we don't even go to church there anymore.
That's one of the things I love about being the honor guard,
Yeah.
is those little victories. I mean, it's kind of like every time we went to Lourdes years ago, they have a memorial mass, and the bishop's been there for many things, and we were never allowed to wear our swords. And so they had a new superintendent, and he happened to be a Knight of Columbus, and I asked him ahead of time, I said, "Is it all right if we wear our swords or not?" He said, "What do you normally do?" He said, "Normally we were told to leave them in the cars, we can't wear them." And he said, "Well, Mike," he says, "I'll tell you what," he says, "I do the hunter safety here, and I'm bringing guns and bullets. I think you guys can bring your swords." So keep asking every time. Don't assume that this time they won't let you bring them in.
Correct.
Thank you again, and we've come a long way in the Milwaukee Archdiocese. Before now Cardinal Dolan, we had Archbishop Weekland, and the honor guard in Milwaukee was null and void, and now we are very visible. Milwaukee Usually have somewhere between 6 to 10, even more, for almost every event we have in Milwaukee. And I don't think there's probably 26 of the 52 or more that were not in the Honor Guard on a weekend doing something in relationship to the Honor Guard. So, Chuck, equipment manager, do you have any words of wisdom? Not a thing?
Not a thing.
You sure? I don't want to leave you out.
Do you have any wisdom? It's still there.
Got its
The
crescent
only
wrench.
thing I have to say to Steve, make sure Pat gets the key.
Okay, before I get into
That to the rental truck?
a lot of things I want to go over with at this time, I would like to call our worthy state deputy, Tim Genty, for some words of wisdom.
What's been going on in other jurisdictions. This year, it was brought forward to Wisconsin, and the Supreme Knight asked us to, if we would take this project on, and on behalf of my fellow state officers and myself, we say Brother Ron over on the western side on the 4 years, and when you see them, you need to congratulate them also on the great work that they have done. My mission here is today, or first off, I need to apologize for being late. But unfortunately, Mayor Jo's riding with me, and she gets a little cranky when I get her up before 5 o'clock. So, my apologies for showing up that few minutes late. On the way up this morning, we ran into a little rainstorm in the Beaver Dam and Waupun area, up through that valley up there. And we were fortunate enough to run into rain, a little snow, and we got on the other side up by Oshkosh, and we ran into the sunshine. Only Wisconsin can you do that in a matter of an hour. My goal up here is kind of a little bit twofold. Again, to congratulate the new masters and to welcome you as as worthy Sir Knights, but also to after the diocesan meetings in Green Bay and in Milwaukee on Tuesday afternoon, UPS was at my door and dropped off the Supreme Awards. A few days late, as usual. So if I could ask the district deputies and if I could ask my fellow state officer, Jack, to help out, the diocesan awards are outside the door here. If you could pick them back up and worthy district deputies, hand them out to your consuls and show the appreciation for all the work that they do for the Knights of Columbus in their areas. It's greatly and much appreciated on behalf of the state. Make sure that you give those awards out and show the appreciation. On the way up this morning, I was listening to a rebroadcast of a radio program from Monday, and many of us may not know, or I hope we all know here, because we're as fourth degree Knights. Monday was Constitution Day. The Constitution of the United States, one of the proud documents that a document that we can be proud, and as a fourth degree Knights, that we need to back and to support. The document that gives us the right to celebrate our religious freedom. That gives us the right or the privilege to speak and assemble peacefully. So as fourth degree Knights, and patriotism as our model, or as our lesson to principle, we need to demonstrate that in the coming elections. Take that message back to your assemblies, or the faithful navigators, that this election is important. And as in the state drive, or this year at the diocesan meeting, we all learned, Wisconsin is doing, the Knights of Columbus in Wisconsin is doing a voter registration guide, or voter registration. We need every person that is able to vote, or eligible to vote, That is their right. That is their privilege. That's how this great country will allow us to continue to be the great country that we are today.